Introduction of Bert's Treatise of Hawks and Hawking. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Curt, Walton. Bert's Treatise of Hawks and Hawking by Edmund Bert. Introduction. Of the three treatises by our old English masters of falconry, Turberville, Latham, and Bert, that of Bert at the present time is unquestionably the scarcest. In the course of 20 years' book collecting, I have heard of but 2 copies for sale, while in regard to the others, hardly a year elapses in which a few examples do not come into the book market, although it must be confessed at sufficiently high prices, if in good condition. Of Turberville's work 2 editions appeared. Footnote: the Book of Falconry or Hawking, for the only delight and pleasure of all noblemen and gentlemen, collected N.C. by George Turberville, Gentleman, 1575, 2nd edition, 1611. For the full titles of both editions, with critical notes, see Harding, Bibliotheca Accipitaria, pages 12 and 13. End of footnote. Of Latham's Foure, footnote. Falconry, or the Falcon's Lure and Cure, in 2 books, 1615, New and Second Book of Falconry, 1618. Second edition of both, 1633. Third, 1653, fourth, 1658. For the full title, see Harding, Op. Cit., pages 15 through 17. End of footnote. The treatise by Bert, first published in 1619, has until now never been reprinted, a circumstance, no doubt, which in some measure accounts for its greater rarity. From certain statements of the author, it would seem to have been printed chiefly to oblige his friends, and was not intended for general circulation. I did never purpose, he says, to publish in common these my labors, but to have given them privately to whom they are dedicated, and to whom I stand devoted. But being discovered to some of my friends, and by them made known to many of the rest, their importunities and earnest persuasions have made me put it to thy press. Farther on he remarks, in page 8, it hath long lain by me, and that I had not been forward to publish this but in a manuscript, is very well known to many of my friends, but from this may be inferred that only a limited number of copies were originally printed. But whatever cause or causes may have been conduced to its scarcity, the fact remains that at present time the work is practically unprocurable, and this is the more to be regretted, because having been composed by an English falconer of great experience, it is still of utility and value to those who at present day would keep hawks and fly them at game. Under these circumstances, I have undertaken the present reprint, in the belief that there are others who will be glad to possess a copy, if, like myself, they have tried in vain to procure the original. The text has been set up with great care by Messrs. Ballantine and Hanson, by the Ballantine Press, Edinburgh, from an original copy in the possession of Honourable Gerald Lascelles, to whom I am indebted for the loan of it, and it will be found on examination that not only is this a verbatim et litteram reprint, but that it, in regard to type and headlines, initials, and other ornaments, it is as nearly a facsimile as it is possible to make without the aid of photography. 100 copies only have been printed. Of the author Edmund Bert, little is known beyond what he himself has told us in his treatise. He lived at Collier Row, near Romford, Essex, and was somewhat advanced in years and in failing health when he was persuaded to publish the results of his experience as a falconer. Some of his recipes it appears he had used for 16 or 17 years, page 103, and his method of hooding a shy hawk, he says, he did privately deliver to some of my friends by word of mouth above 20 years since, 1599, and some did carefully follow my direction and did not fail. But it was after he had been ill for some time that he began seriously to think about publication. By gentlemen that have come to visit and comfort me, he says, in the time of my sickness, which hath continued with me for the most part of these 3 years, I have been overpowered, desiring that my knowledge might not be buried with me, to thrust out my labours to public view, in page 8. Amongst his friends and acquaintances, a few are mentioned by name. He alludes to Sir Edward Saliard, a knight of high estimation in this art, page 40. Old Sir Robert Roth, who had an excellent goshawk. Master Rainford, who had a hawk, are referred to on page 68, and a worthy baron whom
Sample complete. Ready to continue?